Now, Transnet CEO Siyabonga Gama says state-owned logistics company will showcase investment projects to investors at next week's World Economic Forum in Durban. Speaking to the SABC's Devan Murugan, Gama, who also co-chairs the forum, said the private sector has to contribute to the 400 billion rand needed for rail and port infrastructure development.
I think the key issues in terms of attracting capital for infrastructure projects lie on the ability to prepare credible feasibility studies, making sure that people can present business cases that are commercially viable. Part of what we want to do, for instance, at the World Economic Forum is to parade some of the projects that we have. We have a cross-border project with Swaziland, which is called the Swazi Rail Link, for instance, which requires about 14 to 15 billion rand in private sector capital. We are almost ready to go to market in terms of that project. But there's a number of other projects that we will be making available at the World Economic Forum, because what we believe is there is enough capital, there is enough funding that is available if credible business cases are actually presented.
But that call does move into the space of the thorny and controversial issue of private ownership and privatization, doesn't it?
Private sector participation is important. It's an important cog in terms of creating a huge multiplier effect. An entity such as Transnet does not have all of the capital that is required in order for it to impact the logistics system. There are many different players that are required. For instance, if you look at facilities that don't exist at the moment, like rapid loading facilities in Witbank around the coal mines, especially to impact small and emerging BEE miners. You can get the private sector to create a rapid loading facility. We're also looking at a very similar thing in the Northern Cape around manganese and iron ore, because there's a lot of mining licenses that have been issued, but the ability for the country to create employment and to stimulate economic growth lies in those entities being able to mine. So if they can mine but they don't have the logistics competence to be able to move their product to markets, then it means that the economic growth that we're looking at is not going to materialize.
Mr. Gama, the new Finance Minister, Malusi Gigaba, is on a show to woo investors and to get the ratings agencies reassured. Of course, it all boils down to growth, which is very important for a logistics company like Transnet. We as Transnet, we can only grow when the economy of this country grows. So what typically happens is that we will probably grow our business maybe at 2 to 3 times the rate of the GDP growth. And that's largely because that is fueled by our very good inroads in terms of the road to rail shift. We continue to take market share from road. That is assisting us, but also we're creating and have created new value propositions that are assisting us in terms of the logistics value chain, where we are bringing in more cargo into the Transnet fold. So we remain very, very interested and affected by any discussions around what is likely to happen in terms of triggering economic growth. So we are very interested in terms of what the finance minister does. We are very interested in terms of the kind of fiscal disciplines that the government continues to have. And we are quite confident, in fact, that the government continues to be prudent, and we are quite confident that the government will assist to bring all of the different parties that are required into this ecosystem to be able to move all of us forward. Transnet was downgraded with South Africa. How does it affect the business?
What we've been trying to do is to make the kinds of investments that catalyze economic growth in our country, to make sure that we lift the sovereign. But obviously, when we get downgraded, it means that the cost of money will also go up for Transnet, and we have been calculating the impact of that downgrade that has happened via Standard & Poor to probably be in the region of about 150 million additional rand going forward. But we've been lucky in that we had already set credit rating triggers to say if we are downgraded to a particular level, there's not going to be a recall of any of our loans as a result of the sovereign downgrade. So I think that is what has cushioned us. But I think as everybody will learn, credit rating downgrades are not good for a country.
What do you think is the most important outcome that we should see at the World Economic Forum?
The challenge that we have at this World Economic Forum is to talk about inclusive growth and how to make sure that inclusive growth is also sustainable. How do we bring a community of people into the discussion around how we're going to create economic growth, how we're going to make sure that we create jobs in the economy? The global economy as a whole has been stagnant for quite some time.